Okay, well, you know what? We'll go on to the next question then. This one is from Guzman, 1611. Guzman asks Esteban, what is his explanation for the human artifacts and bones found in the South Carolina phosphate beds, which contains dinosaur bones? Go ahead, Esteban.
Oh, wow. So specific. I guess, okay. They contain dinosaur bones. What, modern dinosaurs? Like the birds? Human bones have never been found in the same strata as dinosaurs, unless there was an earthquake or some kind of crazy event that turned things up. I don't know anything about this specific case. Again, it's so specific. like I know all this stuff, but so I can't really speak on that specific thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound like I think I know everything or anything like that. Humility, you know.
Well, thanks for that answer there, Esteban. Did you have a quick response, Dr. Hovind?
Yeah, the phosphate beds in South Carolina that were mined out mostly about 100 years ago, they were digging out phosphates. There are many books have been written about it. I've got a couple in my library here about them finding all sorts of strange things in these phosphate beds, including dinosaur, human artifacts, and dinosaur bones have been found together. Esteban, if somebody told you dinosaurs, and I don't mean birds are not dinosaurs. That's one of the really dumbest theories they've come up with. But dinosaurs, giant reptiles, have been found. There's evidence of them living with man from all over the world from many sources. They always lived with man. The Bible says everything was made in 6 days, and the phosphate beds are just one of thousands of examples where there's evidence, physical evidence of them living together. I will point out, I don't think anybody has ever in the world found human bones and chicken bones in the same rock strata. Would that prove humans and chickens did not live at the same time? Would that be a logical conclusion? We got chickens in our yard over here. No, they did live at the same time, but you don't normally find their bones together when a catastrophe, because humans don't hang out with chickens a lot. So the fact that bones are not found together is not an evidence against them living together. I don't know how you guys can't see that third grade level common sense behind that. However, with that said, I will say I think they have been found together, and the Carolina phosphate beds are one of many examples of that.
Peter Bilmer also wrote in on Facebook, apropos science educators or people who pretend to be one. A creepy YouTube atheist claims that a geological formation known as the Ashley phosphate beds is composed of invisible layers, proving deep time. Can you address that claim? Is that because every evidence for evolutionism is in fact invisible and has to be imagined? Well, thanks for writing in, Peter. The Ashley phosphate beds are a layer of sediments which are being mined today for its high quantities of phosphate, which is being used for fertilizer. These sedimentary layers are huge, covering large portions of the Carolinas and quite probably extending into Florida and up into Canada. The world-famous geologist Louis Agassiz described the phosphate beds as the greatest graveyard he had ever known. The phosphate beds have so many fossil bones in them that it's believed the phosphate itself is from bones. So, if the Ashley phosphate beds are so loaded with such incredible fossils as to cause one of the leading geologists and zoologists of his day to call them the greatest graveyard he had ever known, why then has virtually zero been written about the fossils in the scientific literature? When you look at what was written in the 1800s, you'll probably quickly deduce why. The fossils completely ravage the evolutionary timeline. In that 18-inch thick layer, there has been found together the bones of whales, porpoises, fish, sharks, and ray sharks, including the gigantic shark Megalodon, toads, crocodiles, alligators, turtles, rabbits, monkeys, horses, tapirs, camels, elephants, rhinoceroses, mammoths and mastodons, sloths, muskrats, deer, pigs, dogs, sheep, hadrosaur dinosaurs, iguanodon dinosaurs, what are commonly called marine dinosaurs like the plesiosaurs and ichthyosaurs, and yes, human bones, teeth, and artifacts. That's right, dinosaurs, mammoths, marine reptiles from the alleged dinosaur period, and humans, all found in the same layer. As many leading evolutionists have acknowledged, if humans and dinosaurs were found together, it would demonstrate that the Earth was young. It would refute the millions of years and would refute evolution. Creation would be vindicated. So how does this atheist answer this powerful evidence, refuting evolution and affirming a young Earth and creation? By claiming that there are layers to the Ashley phosphate beds, and that the marine dinosaurs, the mammoths, and the human fossils are actually separated into these individual layers. You just can't see the layers. Invisible layers. Good explanation. This bizarre explanation gets even weirder when you consider the layer average is a whopping 18 inches thick. That's a lot of invisible layers compressed into 1.5 feet of sediments. And this would also mean that the scientists who have studied it were completely blind to these layers, which is ridiculous, seeing as how they'd studied layers elsewhere and this layer was only 18 inches thick. Professor of Geology and Paleontology, F.S. Holmes, believed in the conventional evolutionary sequence. So he knew full well that humans and dinosaurs should not be found in the same layer. In fact, he wrote, "Not long after finding the above-named relics of human workmanship, and engaged in our usual visits to the Ashley bed, a bone was found projecting from the bluff, immediately in contact with the surface of the stony stratum, the phosphate rocks. We pulled it out, and behold, a human bone. Without hesitation, it was condemned as an accidental occupant of quarters to which it had no right, geologically, and so we threw it into the river. Alas, we have lived to regret our temerity and rashness. A year after, a lower jawbone with teeth was taken from the same bed, and now we have it in the cabinet." In fact, Holmes even portrayed a dinosaur and a human on the cover of his book. The only people claiming invisible layers is creepy internet atheists. Others, like Holmes, have at least tried to explain the way the fossils found together as perhaps fossils that were worked out of older and younger rocks to be washed together. Now, this theory also just plain doesn't work, and I don't have time to get into explaining that today, but it shows you that these experts who spent considerable time excavating in the phosphate beds obviously didn't think there was multiple layers there, contrary to the ignoramuses on YouTube. You can read more on the Ashley phosphate beds in the book written by the late geologist John Watson, Man, Dinosaurs, and Mammals Together, available at the Mount Blanco Fossil Museum.